Quite an entrance. Luisito Espinosa was already in the ring, and he's just hanging out. Former champion in both the bantam and featherweight division. He's seen everything, so he's not phased. 46-10, 25 knockouts as a professional. And as we illustrated, he's had a couple losses in his last couple of fights. Augie Sanchez stopped him. Lost to Gudia Espadas and Cesar Soto. But he is rejuvenated. Time for Teddy Atlas's tips.
Well, if Espinosa is going to win tonight, use your long arms. They're very long. Control distance and the jab. If you can take away the jab, Raheem's in trouble. Use your superior physical strength. You're the stronger guy. Get inside and make it a fight. And take the curve out. You're stronger, but you throw a lot of looping punches. Try to straighten them out so you don't leave an opening for Raheem.
Zahir Raheem has been past 8 rounds only once. He's been in Tulsa, Oklahoma for 2 months. Born and raised in Philadelphia. 130 pounds, 19-0. 10 knockouts against nondescript competition. His last 5 opponents have a winning percentage of 53%. As opposed to Espinosa, whose last 5 opponents, as we showed you, had a winning percentage of 86%. Teddy's tips for Zahir Raheem.
Well, if Raheem's going to stay undefeated, move towards a world title fight, hands up. You move yourself very good defensively. You move that head, you're pretty tricky, but you do it with your hands down. That is risky. Keep them up. Quick will do the trick. You're faster. You're quicker than Espinosa. Take advantage of that. Get your punches off. Get out. And as he comes, you have to counter. You're a boxer. Part of being a boxer is luring Espinosa into traps and countering.
Gary Ritter is our referee. Unified rules will be used for this bout. No 3 knockdown rule, no standing 8 count. Fighter cannot be saved with the bell in any round. Accidental foul, they'll go to the scorecards after 4. Count of 4 rounds are complete. 61 degrees right now here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Of course, as you saw the helicopter come in, we are outdoors. Zahir Raheem in the white, Espinosa in the gold. Zahir Raheem liked to wrestle as a kid in Philadelphia. Went to a recreation center. He was about 11. They tried to kick him out. Saw a picture of Muhammad Ali and he just stopped. He says, I want to be a boxer. Met trainer Freddie Jenkins, and from that point on, Zahir Raheem was on the fast track in the amateur game with 200 amateur bouts. National PAL champion in 1995 and a U.S. Olympian in 1996. He lost his second bout to Arnaldo Mesa of Cuba. Espinosa, his amateur career has come via the pro game. He only had 3 amateur bouts. He's been a pro since 1984. In fact, Raheem had not celebrated his 8th birthday yet when Espinosa turned pro.
Talking about that experience, that speaks of it real well. Another vivid illustration of the experience gap in favor of Espinosa. Well, Raheem has fought 93 total rounds in his career. Espinosa has fought 112 world championship rounds alone. That is a big gulf of difference in experience.
The big question here in this fight, left hand by Raheem. The question here, Teddy, is Espinosa has all the credentials. He has all the technique. He has all of the skills. The question is, at 35, and after all those wars, does he still have the legs? If he has the legs, he's going to give Raheem fits.
That's it in a nutshell, partner. He has shown himself at 35 years of age and a career of 18 and a half years. He's starting to look a little shop-worn, quite honestly, in his last couple fights. 2 fights ago, he was knocked out by Augie Sanchez. No knock on Sanchez, did a good job. But that made a lot of boxing people look and say, Espinosa, his chin, is starting now to show some tattering.
A couple fights before that, he had that technical loss to Gudia Espadas, the vacant WBC featherweight crown. Espadas suffered a cut in the 11th round. He was comfortably ahead.
There's 2 ways Espinosa can go, and it's going to wind up one way. He has very long arms. He could use those long arms on the outside. But that's not his temperament. That's not his style. He's a strong guy. He's going to wind up inside winging. And that's going to work for him or it's going to work against him. Because Raheem can punch in between those shots with the faster hands.
Most telling blow in the round landed by Zahir Raheem. Zahir Raheem and Luisito Espinosa embark upon round number 2. Raheem in his first bout working with new trainer Jesse Reed, his second month in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Espinosa yesterday weighed 133, almost 134 pounds. He had to lose some weight. The weight for this fight was 129 pounds. Lost the 4 pounds in about 45 minutes. Wasn't really a problem. We talked with him after he had lost the weight and showed no effects. I was talking with the promoter of this show, Tony Holden, and they're having a lot of problems getting a fight for Raheem at 126 pounds.
Raheem has not only been the quicker man, he has hurt Espinosa so far in this fight. Only 2 rounds old, 2 times.
Tony Holden told us that they offered this fight at 126 pounds to Frankie Toledo, Angel Vasquez, John Michael Johnson, Robbie Peden. They all turned it down. That's according to the promoter for Raheem.
Sometimes when you wonder about the wear and tear.
He got caught in a counter. That's a knockdown. Raheem got caught in a counter.
Raheem got a little greedy there. And why wouldn't he? He had success so far in this fight early on. He was throwing too many punches. And he got caught in between by the experienced Espinosa. Came back and caught Raheem as he was throwing 4 punches when there was only time for 3. This fight's going to come down to styles. No matter what the experience of Espinosa, he's going to need the right landscape, the right situation to use that experience. The style of Raheem will make that difficult for him. Raheem is much quicker. Espinosa, even at his best, is a plodding fighter, a slow-footed fighter. A fast fighter like Raheem can always exploit that. Get in, get out. Use the quicker hands to get inside the wider looping punches of Espinosa. So even though we came here expecting a test, and we may get it for Raheem because of the experience of the former 2-time world champion Espinosa, if Raheem fights his style, he's going to give Espinosa, with his style, a lot of problems.
Story here in round 2. Luisito Espinosa got in a counter shot and dropped Zahir Raheem.
This is where Raheem must be careful. He throws those flurries. He must not throw too many to leave himself open.
There's the bell to end the round. Let's listen to Jesse Reed.
Now what happened was you brought your head up in the air. You got clipped on you when you were coming in. Try to feint your way in and feint your way out. When you go out to the right. Don't go straight back. I know you are. Listen, your jab can be more effective if you start doubling up and tripling up. Get real loose.
Okay, let's take a look at the knockdown on the counter punch.
And then work the body in there.
Well, here you're going to see Raheem. He's tossing right now. He's about to be caught right there with a left hook in between his combination. 2 reasons for that knockdown. One, Raheem was wide with his punches. Watch. He's a little wide, and he's throwing too many. He's staying there a little too long. When he stays in that spot too long, well, Espinosa knows what to do. Comes right back in between. He's calm. He's a 2-time former world champion. He's able to stay in that pocket and punch in between those punches.
How'd you score that round?
I'm going to make it 10-9. Even though it was a knockdown, a legitimate knockdown, I thought, other than that, Raheem carried the round. And because of that, I'm only going to give a 1-point advantage for the knockdown to Espinosa in a round that otherwise I would have given to Raheem.
In and out.
See the numbers from the round. Raheem 20 of 55, 18 of 45 with the power shots.
Move to the right, away from his right hand. Move to the right.
If there's a question so far in the career, the young career of Raheem, from boxing pundits, it might be about his chin. How good is his chin? Well, we might find out tonight. Although the corner of Raheem would hope that he would fight his fight and not have that tested tonight. Because after all, what trainers really want that tested in a fight? They want the defense to be good enough where you don't have to have that shown as far as your ability to have a good set of whiskers.
Espinosa's trainer is Donovis Pooler. His manager is Emmanuel Rivera. And in the corner is Hermie Rivera. Hermie Rivera and Espinosa's father worked for Ferdinand Marcos back in the Philippines, and they used to bring Luisito to spar. And there's a right hand from Raheem.
Good job by Espinosa. Even though he got caught that right hand, he rode with it. Turned his head. Took a lot of the power off of that punch.
Hermie Rivera and Espinosa came to the United States together in the early 90s. They had a falling out after Luisito won the title. But now they're back together. You know why they're back together? Because Emmanuel Rivera, Hermie Rivera's son, and Espinosa remained a friendship. And they had a bet on the Prince Hamed Marco Antonio Barrera fight. And Emmanuel Rivera said, hey, if Barrera beats Hamed, you'll let me manage you again. And when Barrera beat Hamed, another counter shot hurt Raheem. It's not ruled a knockdown.
You know what I think happened there was Raheem slipped the first time. Then when he got up and didn't defend himself and the referee didn't get in and separate him, then Espinosa followed up and then he hurt Raheem a little bit. The initial shot I think was more slip than it was punch. But in the end result, Raheem was caught and his attention was gotten from that punch. Raheem has been on the floor in his career before this fight.
Espinosa reaching a little bit. He's been able to land a couple power shots against Raheem. Buffalo. Round number 4 underway for Zahir Raheem and Luisito Espinosa.
We've been talking about the experience difference of these two fighters. Another example in the favor of Espinosa, showing how long he's been around, how much more experience he has. Turned pro at only 16 years of age, fought his first 10-rounder in his 7th fight as a 17-year-old.
When he defended his WBC featherweight crown back in 1996 in the Philippines against Cesar Soto, a 12-round decision, it was in front of 300,000 fans in Manila. Now, a lot of them were let in for free, but pretty good following.
Amazing. The biggest crowd I know of besides that was when Chavez fought in Mexico with about 100,000 fans, and a lot of those were let in for free too. Jorge Baez, the former featherweight champion from Mexicali, he used to fight outdoors in Mexicali to huge crowds, but never to 300,000. There's no doubt who's the faster man here. Raheem. It's just a matter of how he uses that speed. Does he use it selectively? Does he use it smartly? Or does he wind up staying inside too long? Even though he still has quick hands on the inside, does he stay too long and allow the stronger, physically stronger and more experienced Espinosa to negate that speed a little bit? Where you can get an aim on him and have a chance of landing.
Both men acknowledged yesterday when we spoke with them that this is a stepping stones fight for both of them. Espinosa said I can make a name for myself by beating Raheem. In other words, showing that I'm still viable. And of course for Raheem, a win against the former champion Espinosa in 2 different weight classes would be by far his biggest win.
About 20 seconds ago, when Espinosa had his back towards the rope, he showed his experience and his ability to adjust on the fly and to think in there. He knows he's a slower man. Instead of just coming forward, he was trying, and he's doing it now, he's trying to catch Raheem coming in, trying to lure him into a counter. Espinosa figures if he can time Raheem, he doesn't have to be the faster guy.
Don't count me out. That's what I'm saying. I got the style and I'll bring the pain. I'm gonna knock you out. I'm gonna knock you out. I'm gonna knock you out.
Turn a little bit there to the side.
Fruit of the Loom, boxers. Now in button fly, boxer brief, and tartan plaid.
Good.
Boxers. Boxing.
Honest mistake.
Time for the Friday Night Fights trivia question. Only 2 undisputed heavyweight champions boxed in Tulsa in their pre-championship days. The first was Jack Dempsey in 1918. Who was the other? Little hint, 1932, Teddy. A little hint for you. Just a little hint.
1932. That's what you said, right?
That's the hint.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
So I'm giving you a little hint. A couple minutes to figure that one out. Round number 5 underway. Scheduled 10-rounder. Zahir Raheem and Luisito Espinosa. Raheem campaigning as a featherweight, although this fight is taking place at junior lightweight, 130 pounds. So the punch numbers through 4 rounds, and you see that Espinosa has been slightly busier. Raheem a bit more accurate. Raheem was down in the 2nd round. Nothing devastating, but he was down.
This is the first round, and we alluded to this in the tips before the fight. This is the first round that you, at least early, you see Espinosa using those long arms, which quite honestly, a lot of times he doesn't do. He's got very long arms. He's starting to use that long jab at the right distance. And Raheem is actually reacting the proper way. You don't want to be out jabbed, especially when you're the faster guy, especially when you depend on good boxing skills. So Raheem's trying to counter over the jab with his right hand. Discourage Espinosa like that. Discourage Espinosa from using that jab. Very interesting what's going on right now. Both men thinking. Espinosa thinking, I'll use my long arms. Good uppercut there by Espinosa. And Raheem thinking, I'll take that jab away with counter right hands.
Listen to me.
Even though Espinosa's using his jab, a lot of people home and say, well, Teddy, if he's using his jab and he's a taller guy and he is using his long arms like you said, why is he not having an advantage? Well, he uses that jab, but it's a little slow sometimes. And it's slow coming back. You need to throw that jab out like you're testing hot water and bring it back the same way. He's given time for the quicker, shorter Raheem to counter over. The inside place has to favor Espinosa. Even though Raheem has the quicker hands, he's not the physically stronger man. If he lays in front of Espinosa, he's putting himself on his turf.
A couple good body shots there by Espinosa.
And a good uppercut by Espinosa. Raheem's walking straight in now, like you might expect Espinosa to do. And Espinosa's using that uppercut very effectively.
We're in Tulsa, Oklahoma. ESPN2's Friday Night Fights. Zahir Raheem and Luisito Espinosa, our main event this evening.
Little change here, Bob, in this round. Espinosa has become the boxer. He's using those long, thin arms. And he's making Raheem walk in.
Start the second half of this bout between Zahir Raheem and Luisito Espinosa. Scheduled for 10. Raheem got knocked down in the 2nd round on a counter shot on the inside. He's also rocked Espinosa a couple times. Espinosa, 35 years of age, former bantamweight and featherweight champion. Raheem, a former Olympian, a 1996 U.S. Olympian at 119 pounds.
One thing that also goes along with being around a long time, like we've talked about with Espinosa is sometimes you accumulate scar tissue when you've been around 18 and a half years. Espinosa in the past has been prone to cuts. No evidence of that yet. A little change here in identities now. Raheem, Bob, the faster guy, the quicker legs, the guy who's known as a boxer, the guy who the question about is how good is his chin. He's pressing the fight with the stronger, more experienced Espinosa. They've switched it around.
Jesse Reed yelled at Raheem before, "Don't fall in," though. Espinosa nearly got him falling in.
Jesse Reed, the experienced trainer, been with many world champions, developed and worked with the great Orlando Gonzalez, the tremendous bantamweight champion, who is now retired. Right now, Raheem doing a good job getting in, getting out, using his quickness, but not staying there too long like he might have been doing the last round. And again, Espinosa, well, little change of identity for him, change of plan, doing a lot of counterpunching. There's a couple reasons why Espinosa might be changing up a little bit as Raheem walks in. One, Espinosa sees how quick Raheem is. He figures with distance, he may be able to time Raheem coming in. He can't match him for speed, so maybe he figures he can time him coming in. Also, one other thing, he felt the power of Raheem, and his legs didn't feel real good early. Maybe he knows that he doesn't have those steady legs he used to have one day. He wants to stay outside, stay away from situations that could test those legs. That's the experience of a 35-year-old thinking in there.
Raheem trying to dig his power shots. Espinosa can't counter in between them. Welcome back to a brisk Tulsa, Oklahoma on a Friday evening. Bob Papa along with Teddy Atlas. All right, we're trying to get the answer to the Friday Night Fights trivia question, Teddy.
Well, one of the things to break it down would be that it was in Oklahoma. Oklahoma, not knocking this town, great people, great fans here, but back in the old days, it was a tank town. It was where you would build up a fighter. Primo Carnero was a fighter who was built up with soft fights. So I'm going to guess Primo Carnero. And that's why. Because he was a guy that, quite honestly, a lot of the wise guys back in those days that controlled boxing, they took this raw guy from Italy. You know, the guys with those crooked noses, you know, those soprano-type guys. They took Primo Carnero and they took him to the soft places and they built his record up. That's why I was able to guess it.
There you go. I like when you break it down. Round 7 underway for Raheem and Espinosa. The only knockdown came in the second round. Raheem got dropped.
You know, I'm impressed with Raheem. This is the best I've ever seen him. And that's what you would expect if you have a prospect. When he steps up, when he's finally, I was talking about earlier, saying he's going from the wading pool in competition that he's been in so far in his career to the ocean. You expect that if you have a prospect, for him to rise to the occasion. Raheem is rising to the occasion.
Well, he puts together a nice combination, gets away. Let's go to the corner of Zahir Raheem, and his new trainer working with him for the first fight is the aforementioned Jesse Reed. Jesse, you pleased with what you're seeing?
I really am. At the beginning, Z was kind of coming up in the air and getting touched with punches that he shouldn't have been getting hit with. Now he's keeping his distance and moving to the sides, pointing his shoulders and putting punches together. Once he gets that speed and rhythm going, he's unbelievable. He's got a good rhythm.
Hey, Jesse, it's Teddy here. And, you know, question I want to ask you, Jesse, is that it's a catch-22 to me. Raheem has shown that he can hurt Espinosa. You couldn't have known that for sure going in. You would hope that he could, but you couldn't know for sure. You had to go in this fight saying, we got to outbox him, we got to outspeed him. But your young Charge has shown he can hurt Espinosa. Are you worried? That's a good thing, but are you worried that he might get a little greedy, a little careless, a little carried away with that, and maybe fall into the trap of Espinosa?
That could happen, but I think I've got good control. I think he's listening to his corner, and each round you see him getting a little bit better with his distance, and you're seeing him measuring him a lot better. So I'm not really worried about that. I just worry that he goes up in the air. He's got a habit of going straight up in the air, and I want him to circle him kind of like it, and not come straight at him.
All right, Jesse, good luck.
Thank you.
Rest of the way, Jesse Reed in the corner of Zahir Raheem.
I would be concerned, I would still be concerned that my fighter, who going into this fight, we're talking about Raheem right now, had to win a boxing match, had to outspeed the man, which he's doing. And quite honestly, he's outfought him when he's been on the inside too. But the one chance the experienced former two-time world champion Espinosa has is to land something. I would hope that Raheem, I'd be worried about my young Charge falling in love with his power.
Good round, though, for Zahir Raheem. We're going to keep it right here on this evening in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Let's listen to the corner.
Now listen to me. Listen to me. You're putting pressure on yourself. You don't need to prove anything. You're a good fighter. You're a fantastic fighter. Go out there and feel that rhythm and start punching this guy from distance. Don't force anything. Make him force it. He's the one that's got to play catcher, not you. You take charge with your left hand and you be the boss. But you use your angles and the things you know how to do. And I want you to showcase your shoulder a little more. All right? Hey, look, when you got him on the ropes, instead of falling in them, step to the right and throw that hook right up the middle. You got me? Spin back the other way and shoot the right hand. Come on, use those beautiful legs and show some rhythm. Show these people what you're made of. Let's go to work. You look fantastic. Don't be so tough.
Well, that was an educational segment there. So many times, Teddy, we're listening on the corners, and all they're saying is, come on, do you want to win? Do you want to win? Do you want to win? There's a lot of facts going on there. A lot of instruction.
That's what you would expect from a good teacher or a good trainer. In this case, Jesse Reed, one of the good trainers around.
Tell you something I mentioned in the first round is you take a look at the power punches in round number 7. Overall, Raheem landed at 54%. Take a look at Teddy Atlas's scorecard through 7 rounds, 68-65 for Raheem. I have the same score. One thing that I think is really hurting Espinosa's chances, Teddy, something I mentioned in the first round, the legs. Just seems to have a problem getting in, getting out, smoothly, and it just looks like a guy that's 35.
Good overhead shot here. You get a good chance to see what you're talking about. And that's exactly what you need to be talking about when you're looking at a 35-year-old fighter and you're trying to look for some kind of signs as to whether or not his age is showing physically. The first place you look is in the legs. Are they stiff? Do they have bounce to them? Do they come back when he's been hurt? Do they look like they have a little wood in them? Are they unsteady? And there are spots when Espinosa, in his legs, does look a little bit unsteady. Does look like a guy who has taken a lot of punches.
Yep, and that final right cross, right on the chin, puts Espinosa down.
6, 7, 8, 9.
Count is at 9. Yep. Espinosa's up.
You ready to go? Box.
Espinosa is...
He's in a lot of trouble here.
Yep.
And too much time left with a fast, talented fighter. And the referee realizes what we just realized.
2:03 of round number 8. Unofficially. 2:02 officially. Zahir Raheem, first time stepping up in class. Let's face it, most of his opposition has been average, and that's being nice. But this is a solid win for him. Number 20, 11th stoppage. And he took care of a cagey veteran, a former champion in 2 different weight classes, and he went in and he got it done.
Yes, he did. And Espinosa at the end looking like a worn old fighter. Both physically and taking the punishment and going down, and even emotionally in the way that he sort of thought about his situation as he was sitting on the canvas.
And that's Emmanuel Rivera, the son of Hermie Rivera, giving him the hug. He's the one that took over the managerial after they had that little friendly wager about Barrera and Hamed. They've known each other since they were kids. It's been a long road from Manila in the Philippines to Daly City, California. 2 championship belts, 7 defenses of the featherweight championship belt in the mid to late 90s. On the bantamweight belt back in '89. They're friends more than they're business partners. Let's take a look at the speed of Zahir Raheem here, Teddy, and how it ended.
Well, he did a good job all night. Right there, he saw the right hand had a home. The left hand was down of Espinosa. He was reaching a little bit in with the jab. You reach in with the jab, we'll see another good shot here. Espinosa falling in with the jab, not covering. The right hand timed him first coming in, and then Raheem reacted well. As Espinosa went straight back, Raheem followed him, put the finishing touches on the round and on the fight, and maybe on the career of Espinosa. Right here, you can see the referee doing the good job. Stepping in, making the right call. Raheem just kept moving his hands, forced the referee to do the right thing.
Gary Ritter doing a good job stepping in right there. Zahir Raheem landed 47% of his power shots in the fight. 41% overall. He's got a nutritionist. He's got a new trainer. He's got a new strength and conditioning coach. He says the only thing he misses about Philadelphia are the cheesesteaks. Good sportsmanship as he embraces Espinosa. Zahir Raheem gets the big knockout win. We'll talk with him when we return on Friday Night Fights. Here's Brian and Max.